around the corner. Keeping this in mind, we know each and every one of you is really excited, but is also looking for the last final push and the fillip that is going to add those extra 5, 10, 15 percentile to your final CAT score. Well, because of this, BYJU'S exam prep brings to you the last lap to CAT 2022, starting on the 17th of October all the way till the 20th of November. Yes, 4.5 intensive, in fact almost 5 intensive weeks of preparation. What more, the focus is predominantly going to be CAT, which means, as we know, time, speed, distance and time and work in totality have almost equal weightage or sometimes even more weightage than geometry. So can we go ahead and leave geometry and just focus on these two? Can we go ahead and leave entire theta para jumbles and still score a 99.99 percentile in verbal? Yes, we can. This and much more in terms of preparation, in terms of intensive questions that we're going to look at and the smartest way of going ahead and solving that. So catch us on the BYJU'S exam prep app, and in case you missed that, on YouTube. But go ahead, download the BYJU'S exam prep app and also get a 99 percentilers kit which is going to help you ace CAT 2022. See you soon.
Hello friends, a very good afternoon to all of you and welcome back once again on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. I'm Gaurav Gupta and I welcome all of you to our next session for the preparation of CAT 2022. So friends, can you please quickly confirm if I'm audible and visible to all of you? Varun, Devika, good afternoon to all of you. Good to see you back in this session. Thank you, Varun. Okay, so friends, like in this preparation in our journey towards CAT 2022, now we have already entered the month of CAT, 27th of November, and we are sitting on 1st of November. So you all must be anxiously waiting for this examination to happen. Now in our efforts to make sure that you all have a wonderful preparation before CAT, we are taking on different things, and today's topic, as you all know, is data interpretation marathon. So today we are going to start with the marathon session of data interpretation, wherein we'll bring wonderful sets to all of you so that you will have an idea about each and everything that has already appeared in CAT, and the type of question that are we can say that that have more chances of appearing in this year's CAT examination. So in our efforts to cover each and everything, each and every type of questions, we have started this series, and today we are going to take on some wonderful, some beautiful sets using which you'll be able to enhance your knowledge. All right, so thank you for telling me that the voice is clear and audible. Shivam, good afternoon. Shivani, thank you. Piyush, good afternoon. All right, fine. So without wasting any time, we'll definitely move on to the first set of today's lecture. But one thing I want to make clear before we'll start this session or this series of session, like the first session of DI Marathon, definitely it's today. Day after tomorrow, I'll be bringing one more session on DI Marathon. All right. Now in all these sessions, I will be covering some different types of questions that have already appeared in the previous year papers of CAT. All right. These questions are not copied from the previous year papers of CAT. Okay. So some of these questions are original, but definitely the level of difficulty and the concept that is used, the type of calculations. So all of these things will replicate most of the questions that have appeared in the previous year papers of CAT. All right. Now, while you are attending this particular session, it's a suggestion to all of you that in the live session, try to solve most of the things. Okay. Now we'll not be encountering very heavy set of calculations in today's lecture. All right. So what you must do is, as soon as you see the common set of information, treat it the same way you will treat a set in your actual CAT examination. All right. You should be having exactly the same kind of energy with which you will be solving your actual CAT paper. All right. So make sure that the environment around you is similar to the environment on the day of CAT. Okay. So you can sit in a room, you can close the doors. It should be a soundproof room so that nobody will disturb you for the next 45 minutes or 1 hour or whatever time we are there in this session. okay, and attempt all these questions in a sincere environment with a sincere nature. All right. Okay. Shivam, the timings you are asking about the next session of DI marathon, I'll confirm the timings before the end of this session. All right, don't worry. So I think like the timings will be 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Okay, so among these two timings, it can be one of them, but definitely I'll confirm you the same thing before the session will get over. All right, Shivam. Okay, so friends, let us start with the first set. All right. Now, the common set of information will appear in front of you. There will be only one slide for that information. So what you can do is you can tabulate the data. I'm just telling you right in front, right before I'm giving you the set. So it will be a set on line graph. And what you can do is you can read the common set of information and then tabulate the data. And then I'll take you towards the questions. All right, fine. So here it is, the common set of information about the first set in front of you. So question says that a virus infection broke out in a city and infected thousands of people. The following line graph shows the monthly data in terms of the number of thousands of people who got infected and recovered from the viral infection in the months of January to July. So the month that is given here is starting from January up till July in the year 2021. So be careful. The year into consideration is year 2021. All right. Okay. Now further below this graph, some extra data is given. Okay. So if I look at this graph, it shows the number of infected people as well as number of people who have recovered. All right. So the following graph shows the monthly data in terms of the number of thousands of people. So it is number of thousands of people, okay, who got infected and recovered from the viral infection in the months of January to July. Okay. Now, below this graph, we have some more data. So it says that every person who got infected from the infection recovered either, this is very important, recovered either in the same month or by the next month. Okay. Now for the months January to July, out of the total number of people that got infected in a month, exactly half of them recovered in the next month, while the rest of them recovered in the same month. So I'll leave you with this data for the next 1.5 minutes. You can tabulate the data and then I'll take you towards the questions one by one. Evaluate this data properly, all of you. Evaluate this data properly, all of you. All right, so I hope that all of you must have drawn a proper table of this data. So let us start with the analysis. Let us first of all understand some of the very important points that we need to consider while making a table for this data. All right. Now, it is very easy to pick up values from this graph. The line graph is not very difficult. Okay, all the values are, we can see that are in the multiples of 10. Okay, so no problem with picking up the values from this line graph. All right. Now, below this line graph, the data that is given is very important. So it says that every person who got infected from this infection recovered either in the same month or by the next month. So every person who has been infected, let's say in the month of January, that person will be either be recovered in the same month, that is in the month of January, or in the month of February. That's it. Okay. Now for the months January to July, so they are talking about these specific months only. For the months January to July, out of the total number of people that got infected in a month, so in these 6 months only, out of the total number of people who got infected in a particular month, exactly half of them recovered in the next month, while the rest of them recovered in the same month. So that means whatever is the number of infected people of a particular month, half of it will recover in the same and half of them will recover, or the remaining will recover in the next month. All right. So not very difficult data to interpret, I can say that. So let's have a quick analysis of this data. Okay. So this is the directions, right? Now I have quickly tabulated this data. So can you all quickly confirm if you have used the same values that are there in the table? So starting from January up till July, number of people who have been infected in each month and number of people who have recovered in each month, I have tabulated this data. All right. So quickly give me a yes or a no. Have you fetched the same values from this graph into the table? Just write yes or no. Okay. So this is nothing but I have converted this line graph into the table. All right, so Varun says yes, all the values he has used are same. Devika says yes, others, all right, Kushal, fine. So a lot of people have used the same values. In case you have made any, if you have noted down any value incorrectly, so please make it correct, make a correction. Okay, now let's understand this one. So now people who are infected in January, number of people is 140. All right. Now, out of these 140 people who got infected in the month of January, exactly half of them recovered in the same month. That means 70 people will recover in the same month out of 140. All right. And these remaining number of people who would have recovered here. So total recovery was 110. 70 are from the same month. So I can say that the remaining 40 would be from previous month. All right. So I can write this 110 as 70 plus 40. 70 kahan se aaya? From where I got this 70? 70 is the half of this value. All right. So in the same month, 70 got recovered. So the remaining 40 must have come from the previous year. All right. So that means I want this value from each and every one of you. Good, Kaushal, good. So I want this thing from each and every one of you. If 40 came from the previous month, then can you tell me what will be the total number of people who got infected? What will be the total number of people who got infected in the month of December? Come on, I'm waiting for this number. What will be the total number of people who got infected in the month of December? I need this thing from all of you. Any answer? Any answer for this? Okay. So people have given the answer as 80. Now this is one mistake that we do. Okay. So in the heat of the moment or in the momentum, this is one mistake that we do. Let's read the data again and understand it properly. Now I'll start from here. For the month of January to July only. So for the months January to July, this particular thing will happen. I cannot say about what will happen after July or what will happen before January. Okay. So for the months of January to July, out of the total number of people who got infected in the month, exactly half of them will recover in the next month and the remaining will recover in the same month. Right. Now this is true only for the months January to July. This may or may not be true for the month of December. All right. So we cannot comment upon this number. All right. Right. We cannot comment on this number, but we can say that if the same thing is carried forward. So if the same thing is carried forward, this will be 80. So I'll fill 80, but we cannot comment upon this particular value. Right. This is one thing that you can keep in mind. Is 60 will recover in the same month and 70 will come from the previous month. Okay, half of 140, that is 70, will come from the previous month. Likewise, I can keep filling this complete table. Okay, so all of you may fill it quickly. For March, it is 100. Half of 100 is 50. Plus, the remaining 60 will come from the previous month. All right. For April, it will be half of 200. That is 100. Okay. Plus, the remaining 50 will come from the previous month. Then for the month of May, 160, half of 160 is 80. Okay. Plus 100 will come from the previous month. For the month of June, half of 140 is 70 plus 80 will come from the previous month. Okay, right? So these are the values that I can fill up till the month of July. So last month, July, 100 ka half is 50 and 70 will come from the previous month. All right. So these are all the values that we have filled in this table. Okay. Now we are done. And now let's see what we can do with the questions. Okay. So this is the table that you all must have got. Give me a quick confirmation if you have used the same set of values or not. Come on. So all of you please write yes. I am mentioning this value as 80. Okay. But obviously you know that we have already discussed that we cannot determine this value. Okay. So this is one mistake that some of us might commit. You should not be doing that. Read the entire data carefully and properly. Okay. Chaliye, आगे चलते हैं. So let's look at each and every question one by one. So question number 1 on your screen now. What is the number of people in thousands who were infected in December 2020 and were able to recover in the same month? Now, all of you know this answer. We have already had a discussion about this. Okay, so you can give me an answer very quickly. Come on. What will be the answer for this one? Absolutely correct. Good. So we cannot comment upon the number of people who are infected in this month, right? We cannot comment. So they are asking number of people who were infected in December 2020 and were able to recover in the same month. So the instructions were given for these 6 months. Nothing was given about the month of December. So definitely we can say that the answer will be cannot be determined. All right. The answer for this question will be cannot be determined. I hope you all are clear with this. All right. Chaliye, आगे चलते हैं. Let's have a look at the second question. Now read it carefully and try to find out what is being asked here properly. So question is, out of the people who recovered during the period from January to July 2021, how many people did not recover in the same month in which they got infected? Any answer for this one? I'll give you a few seconds. Don't you worry. Take your time. Find the answer. All right, good. Now we are getting different answers for this. So some of you have given, Sahil has given answer as A, Piyush, Pratik, Varun, Devika, B. Pragya also says A, Shivam is saying C. Now a lot of you are saying A and B. All right, so let's see what will be the answer in this case. Now which portion do we have to consider in this case? Out of the people who recovered during the period of January to July. So out of the people who recovered in this period, that means they are talking about this complete data, or I can say that this complete data. Okay, complete data. Infected got in the month of December doesn't matter. Out of the people who recovered in this particular period. Okay, so we have to consider this entire data. All right. How many people did not recover in the same month? So I have done the breakup. So I can say that this particular part recovered in the same month. This particular part recovered in the same month. Okay, wait. So I have done the breakup of all those who recovered. Fine. So this part has recovered in the same month. Right? We want all those people who did not recover in the same month. All right. That means we need to find out the sum of these numbers, sum of the remaining values. All right. Fine. So what will be the sum? Let's add it. 40 and 70, 110. 110 and 60, it will be 170, then 50, 220, 320, 400, 470. Now all these values are given in terms of 1000, so it will be 470,000, or I can say that it will be 4,70,000. All right. So people who have given the answer as option A, 4.7 lakhs, all of them are correct. It's not 4.8 lakhs, it's 4.7 lakhs. Just quickly have a look at your calculations once again. Okay. Okay, so Shivam is asking, why can't we do infected minus recovered? So वो करने की क्या जरूरत है Shivam? Why do you have to do that? Okay, if you have understood this particular data, okay, if you have understood how have I divided this, okay, then you will understand why I'm doing. Now for if you will do infected minus recovered, infected this minus this, that will not give you the correct values. Okay, that will not give you the correct values, because this number who has recovered 110, this number which has recovered, this includes number of people who got infected in the same month as well as number of people who got infected in the previous month. Okay, so infected minus recovered will not give you the correct answer, right? Okay, now Prateek, this is what I have explained you. Let's read this question once again. Okay, now Prateek, you are asking why am I considering this number 40? Okay, now I'll explain you. Question is asking, out of the people who recovered during the period of January to July, they are not asking out of the people who got infected in the period of January to July. Okay, so out of the people who recovered, so can I say that these 40 people, they recovered in the month of January? So yes, they should be included. All right. So instead of 4.7 lakhs, agar ek option hota 4.3 lakhs. Okay. So I believe most of you would have marked this as the answer. Okay. So there is a confusion. Should we include this 40 or not? Yes, we will be including this number 40 because question clearly mentions that we have to consider those people who recovered from January to July, not infected. Definitely this 40 got infected in the month of December, but they got recovered in the month of January. That is why we are taking this data. All right. Now let's move on to the next question, question number 3. So now understand that in the first question, the answer was cannot be determined. In the second question, there was a confusion which thing needs to be considered. So it gets very important for us to read each and everything that is given in the data. Neglecting even a small point will create some errors while solving these questions. All right. Okay. Let's move ahead and look at the next question, question number 3. So question number 3 on your screen now. Again, read it, understand, interpret, and then do the calculations. Out of the people who recovered from, again, important, this line. Out of the people who recovered from January to July 2021, for how many months the number of people that recovered in the same month in which they got infected was more than the number of people who did not recover in the same month in which they got infected? Try to find the answer carefully. Let's see how many of you give me a correct number. Pragya, Guru, okay. All right. Okay, simple hai because we have already done the bifurcation of this data. So it will not be difficult for us to get the answer for this question. Out of the people who recovered from the month of, in the month of January to July. So that means they are talking about this entire data. Okay, those who got recovered, right? Okay, for how many months, for how many of these 6 months, the number of people that recovered in the same month in which they got infected, the number of people who got recovered in the same month in which they got infected was more than the number of people who did not recover in the same month in which they got infected. Okay, So for which months is it true? Anyone? For which of these months is it true? So if I'll talk about January 70, these are the number of people who got recovered in the same month, and 40 is not that number. So January, it is the month. February, this number is less than 70. So February, it will not be the case. March, it will not be the case. April, yes, 100 is more than 50. May, 80 is less than 100. June, it is less. July, it is less. So these are the 2 months only, January and the month of March, in which whatever is asked is true. Okay, so number of people who got infected in the same month, okay, in which they got recovered in the same month in which they were infected, was more than the number of people who did not recover in the same month in which they got infected, right? So the correct answer is January and April. Okay, so these are the 2 months. So the correct answer will be 2, and everybody has given a correct answer. Good to see that. Let's quickly move on to question number 4. Question number 4. For which of the following months, simple question hai ye bhi, okay, for which of the following months is the difference between the number of people who recovered after getting infected in the previous month and the number of people who recovered after getting infected in the same month is the maximum? Yes, any answer for this one? All right, good. Now checking each of these options will not consider all these 6 months. So question is asking for which of the following months. That means among the options, the difference between the number of people who recovered after getting infected in the previous month and the number of people who recovered after getting infected in the same month is maximum. So let me consider for January, though it is not among the options, though January is not there in the options. Let us understand what we need to do in this case. Okay. So which of the following months, the difference between the number of people who recovered after getting infected in the previous month? Okay. So for January, this is the number that recovered after getting infected in the previous month. All right. And the number of people who recovered after getting infected in the same month. So this is the number who recovered after getting infected in the same month. Now we have to look at the difference between these two numbers. So for January, the difference will be 70 minus 40, that is 30. Okay. Though January is not there in the options, so I'll not use the data for January, and let's look at for June. So what is the difference in June? Can anyone help me with this? So for June, the difference is 70 and 80 are the values. So the difference will be equal to 10. For March is this month, and 50 and 60 are the values. So the difference again will be equal to 10, right? For the next option, February. So February, these are the values, okay? 60 and 70, the difference is again 10. Now, obviously, answer cannot be among these 3 options because we need to find out which difference is maximum. So without calculating the value of May, you can mark the answer, okay? So May, option D, is this value, and the difference here is equal to 20, right? So out of these numbers, 20 is maximum. Correct answer will be May, option D. And all of you have given a correct answer. Lovely, wonderful. Okay. All right. Now with this, let's move on to the next question. But next set pe jaane se pehle, it's a small request to all of you. Take a break of 5 seconds and quickly press the like button. Come on, do that. So if you are enjoying this session, quickly press the like button and be prepared. Prepare yourself for the next set. Take out a fresh sheet of paper because the next set will blow your mind. The calculations are not huge, but yes, there will be calculations. Okay, calculations among very small numbers. So the concept of averages, multiplications, divisions, all these concepts, all these calculations will be required for the next set. All right. And the numbers that will be involved will not be very complex. These will be the small numbers. Okay. So be prepared for the next set. The next set will be there on your screen in a few moments. And here is the next set. So I'll leave you with this set for a few seconds. Understand this particular data and try to find the answers that I'll show you among the questions. So read this data properly. Now again, I'll suggest you to quickly tabulate this data. So make a proper table using this graph. Now whatever graph is given, most of you would not have seen this graph. There is no need to see such type of graphs, okay? Because whatever we require to do in this graph is clearly mentioned in this data, okay? So you don't have to worry about, oh, ye kaisa data aa gaya hamare samne, we have not seen this type of data, okay? So instead of getting worried, just be confident and start reading the information. Also, whenever they will give you such an unfamiliar kind of thing, they will definitely explain how to pick the values using an example. So they have also given an example to so that you will all be able to fetch the details properly. Okay. One more minute for all of you to tabulate this data, and then we'll understand what we'll do. I'll show you just the first question, and on the basis of that, we'll understand what things or what type of calculations do we need to do in this question. Now the question says that the following box whisker chart shows the information on scores of 5 students A, B, C, D, E in 7 tests. So they are talking about the 7 test matches. Okay. Now total number of matches, definitely it is 7, right? Point number A, top end and the bottom end of the candle. So this is the candle. Top end and the bottom end of the candle represents the average scores of the last 4 tests and the average scores of the first 4 tests. So first of all, they are giving the average of first 4 and the last 4. So 1 से लेके 4th test तक का average and then 4th से लेके 7th तक का average, right? Now for person A, this value is 60 for the first 4 tests average, okay? And for the last 4 tests, it is 90. All right, let's move to the second point. The lower end of the vertical line. So vertical line, the lower end of the vertical line represents the score in the first test. So they have mentioned the score of the first test. For A, it will be 50. Okay. And the higher end of the vertical line represents the score in the last test. So the higher end of this vertical line, this will represent the score in the last test. So that means 7th test, the score is 100, right? So point A, point B over. Let's understand what is there in point C. Now point C, the middle line represents, so this is the middle line that they are talking about. The middle line represents the average score of all the tests barring 4th. Okay, now total there are 7 tests, okay. Now this middle line is giving us the average score of all the tests excluding the 4th. So that means the average of 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 and 7. So the average of 1, 2, 3 and 5 to 7 barring the 4th test. So this middle line will give you that number. So middle line is going towards 80. So 80 will be this value. All right. So this is how we are going to read this entire data. Point D says that all the values in the above graph are in the multiple of 2.5. So there should not be any confusion in picking up the value like, okay, I'll clearly show you, wait. Okay, so if you want to pick up, let's say this number, this value. So what will be this value? Anyone. So all these values are in the multiples of 2.5. So 20 to 30, the gap between 20 to 30 will be divided in 4 parts. 20, 22.5, 25, 27.5 and then 30. All right. So this value, yes, good. Pradeep, good, wonderful. So this value is 65. All right. I'll ask you one more value. Give me this value. What will be this number? Come on, all of you. All of you, quickly respond to this. Now, there are more than 40 students. I want a response from each and every one of you. Come on, if you want to get a better understanding, you need to respond. Okay? So, what will be this value? Now, Shivam, understand. यहाँ पे क्या बोला हुआ है? Every value should be in the multiple of 2.5. So, we are very much clear that this gap will be divided in 4 parts. I'll repeat. This gap will be divided in 4 parts. 80, 82.5, 85, 87.5 and then 90. All right. So if you have a line somewhere in the middle like ye wali line, so this number will be between 70 and 80. So I can take this value as 75. But for this value, it is above the half. So 85, it will not be the answer. It will be between 85 and 90, that is 87.5. So 87.5 will be the correct value of this. All right. So quickly, I'll give you another 1 minute. Quickly tabulate this data, all of you. So just note down these 5 values that this graph is giving. So I have given you for A, you must look for B, C, D and E. D के लिए यहाँ पे example दिया हुआ है, so whatever they have mentioned in this paragraph, you can use the values of D. Okay. So quickly tabulate this data. Now confirm once you are done tabulating this complete data. I just want you to convert this graph in terms of the data. Okay, so let's do it quickly. So I have this table, a blank table, okay? And I'll be filling these things in this table. All right. So I'll be filling this portion of this table. So let's do that for A, for each and every person. So now all of you can give your numbers. Come on, all of you can tell me what will be these values. So give me all the 5 values for A. Though I have already given to all these values. So for A, this value will be 60. Okay. Now I'll simultaneously, let's work on these numbers. I'll simultaneously keep writing the sum of these numbers. So if the value of A, this is 60, okay, and this is the average of 4 innings. So I'll also write the sum of these 4 innings. So the sum will be 60 multiplied by 4, that is 240. Okay, or let us write only the sum. Fine. Let's not write these averages. Okay. Now for A, 4 to 7. Okay. So let's fill all these 5 values for A. Now 4 to 7, the value is 90. Okay. 90 into 4 is 360. The lowest score is 50. The first inning, 50. Highest score is 100. And this number is 80. Now this is the average of 6 innings. So multiplied by 6. For this, multiplied by 4, and for this multiplied by 6. So 80 multiplied by 6 will be 480. All right. Sorry, 80 multiplied, yes, 480. So these are the values for A. Okay. So now in the similar manner, don't give me the average. Don't give me the average, just give me the sum for all of them. Come on, all of you. So let's see for B. Okay, so Pragya has given the numbers for B. All right, Pragya, nice. I can see that. Now, Pragya, for C, all of you, for the next person C, instead of writing the averages, you may write the sum. Okay, so I'm doing it for B. For B, here, this value is 55. Okay, 55 into 4 is 220. The higher value is 80. 80 into 4 is 320. Then for the first inning, 50, and for the highest, 95. So this is 50, 95, and the middle value, 65. 65 into 6. 65 into 6 is 390. All right. So 390 will be written here. So let's quickly fill all these values. So anyone can help me with the values of C so that the process will be fast. So for C, it is 35 into 4, 140. This number is 85. 85 into 4 is 340. 30 and 100. 30 and 100. All right. And the last value, 60 into 6, 360. All right. Now for D, D ka to diya hua tha, so you could have copied all those values. I'll still fetch from there. 55 into 4 is 220. 87.5. 87.5 into 4. So for this one, 87.5 into 4. So it will be 360 minus 10, 350. Lowest value is 45 and highest is 90. And the middle value is 75. 75 into 6. 75 into 6 is 450. Okay. Last value E. 30 into 4 is 120. Then 55 into 4, 220. 25 and 60. First and seventh inning, and the middle value 50. 50 into 6 is 300. Okay. Now give me a confirmation if all of you have used the same values. All of you. Come on, just write yes if you have understood these numbers or you have noted down these values. Right? Quickly, quickly, all of you. Just write yes as a sign of confirmation. Okay. Now I'll take you to the first question and understand what we need to do. Now question number 1 is asking us who had the most difference in the average of 5th and 6th and the average of 2nd and 3rd. So that means these questions are asking you to find out the value of 5th and 6th test, not separately but the sum, okay, and the sum of 2nd and 3rd test, okay, right? So 5th and 6th test ka sum chahiye, 2nd and 3rd test ka sum chahiye. Now let's see for that what we need to do in this data. So we have already noted down these numbers. Now first of all, I would like to understand how can we find out this and this. Okay, so 2nd and 3rd chahiye. So I have the data for 1 to 4. I have the value for the first test. So from this value, if I'll subtract the score of first test as well as I'll subtract the score of 4th test, then I'll be left with 2nd and 3rd test. I'll repeat, I have the sum of first 4 tests. Okay, right? From this, if I'll subtract the score of first test, which is already given, as well as subtract the score of 4th test, which I can find out, let's see how, then I'll be left with the data of 2nd and 3rd test. In the similar manner, I have the data of 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay. From here, if I'll subtract the score of 7th test and subtract the score of 4th test, then I'll be left with the data for 5th and 6th test. Okay. So this is a question to all of you, this is a question to all of you. How can we find out the score of fourth test? First of all, quickly, how can we find out the score of fourth test with this given data? Come on, you can mention this thing in the comments. Come on, I'm waiting for your answer. How can you calculate the score of fourth test using this data? Okay, I'll tell you. Now, first of all, add these numbers. So this is the data for first, second, third, and fourth, and then fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. Right? Okay. I'll add both of them. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 4 is repeated twice. From this, if I'll subtract these numbers, the score of first, second, third, I'll subtract first, second, third, and then fifth, sixth, and seventh. Then I'll be left with a number which is twice the data of, or which is twice the score in the fourth test. Okay, and then I will divide it by 2 because twice the data of fourth test. Okay, so twice hai, so isko divided by 2 kar denge. Okay, am I clear? So this is how we'll be taking on this entire data to calculate the score of fourth test. Okay, so fourth test ka score calculate karte hain jaldi se for each and every person. So for A, can you give me the score of fourth test for the person A? So what I'll do is I'll add these two, 240 and 360. बहुत simple numbers हैं. You should not take more than 30 seconds to write the scores of fourth test for all of them. Okay. So the overall time that you will take for this entire data cannot be more than 5 minutes. And once the data is done, then you know in how many seconds you can answer each of them. So let's do that. 600 minus 480, that is 120. 120 divided by 2, which is 60. So this number is 60. A lot of you have already given the answers. Nice. I want it for B. So sum of these two, 540 minus 390, which is 150, divided by 2 is 75. So this number, 75. All right. Let's look at the next number. Sum of these two, 480 minus 360, that is 120. 120 divided by 2, 60. Sum of these two, 570. 570 minus 450, again 120 divided by 2, 60. Okay. Now last number, let's see who has given. Okay, 20 is what you have given. Pragya, last number 20 hona chahiye. You have written 70. Okay. So sum of these two, 340 minus 300 is 40. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So 20 is the last value. All right. Fine. So we are done with the data of fourth test. Now, how to calculate the data of second and third? बहुत simple है. You have data of 4, first 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 hai. From this, subtract this and this. Okay. So from 1, 2, 3, 4, subtract 1 and 4, you will be left with the data for second and third test. So quickly now give all these 5 values for the sum of second and third test. Come on, I'm waiting for this. So slowly, let's, I'll start doing this. So from this number, I'll subtract this and this. So 50 and 60, 110. So 240 minus 110 is 130. So first number is 130. Anyone not able to answer, all of you? Okay, come on, quickly do that. Next, 50 and 75, 125 to be subtracted from 220. So it will be 95. Okay. Next number, 30 and 60, that is 90. 90 to be subtracted from 140. So 140 minus 90 is 50. Right? Next, 220 minus 45 and 60. So 45 and 60, 105. 220 minus 105 is 115. 115. Okay. Last value, 25 and 20. 25 and 20, that is 45. 45 to be subtracted from 120. So 175. So 75 will be this value. Okay. Right. Fine. Now the last thing, I'll do it in the similar manner. So what I have to do is I have to calculate the score of the sum of 5th and 6th test. So from this number, I'll subtract this and this. Okay. So from 4, 5, 6, 7, subtract 7 and 4. Simple ho jayega. So again, all of you, calculate all these 5 values and write all of them in a single message. Don't write them separately. Write them in a single message. Sabko, for A, B, C, D, E, you may write all these 5 values in a single message. The way Kaushal has done, the way some other students have done. Okay. So let's do that. So 160 to be subtracted from 360. So 160 to be subtracted from 360, it will be 200. So this number, 200. Okay. Next, 95 and 75, that is 170. 170. This and this to be subtracted from 320. So 320 minus 170, it will be 150. All right. Yes, a lot of you. So 2 of you, Sahil and Hari, have given all the answers. Good. And let me see if their answers are matching. Yes, their answers are matching. Good. Now next, 160. 160 to be subtracted from 340. Okay, so it will be 180. Now since the answers you have given are same, so I can copy them. Chalo, dekh lete hain. 150 to be subtracted from 350, so it will be 200. Still matching. And last 140 hona chahiye. Let's see if it is correct. So 60 and 20, 80. 80 to be subtracted from 220. So yes, it is 140. Okay. So this is the entire table now in front of you. Now on the basis of this table, yes, you can answer all the questions in a matter of seconds. Let's quickly do that. ठीक है? जल्दी से answer करते हैं. So this is the entire table. Right? So all of you, if you want, you may take a picture of this. Otherwise, it will be present on each and every question, with each and every question. Okay. So we have the entire data now. Right? Let's move on to the first question. So question number 1, all of you can read it quickly. So question number 1 is, who had the most difference or the maximum difference in the average of 5th and 6th and the average of 2nd and 3rd test? So who among A, B, C, D, E has the maximum difference in the average of 5th and 6th test and 2nd and 3rd test? Come on. This is the data that is given to you. Find out which of these 5 people. In option there are only 4, so no need to work on E. So out of these 4, A, B, C, D, who has the maximum difference in the average of 5th and 6th and the average of 2nd and 3rd? Yes, your answer. A lot of answers, a lot of different answers. B, D, A, C. Wow. So A, B, C, D, चारों options आ गए हैं यहाँ पे. Now understand one thing. Do we need to do more calculations? Actually not. If anybody is finding the averages of these numbers, definitely we know that these are the sums. Okay. Now जिसका ये वाला difference ज़्यादा होगा, उसका average में भी difference ज़्यादा होगा. Right? Understand this thing. So just need to check which of these difference is the maximum. So for A, the difference is 30 and 200. The difference is 70. Okay. For B, the difference is 95 and 150. It is 55. Okay. For C, the difference is 50 and 180. 130. And for D, the difference is 115 and 200. That is 85. For the person this difference will be more, the difference between the sums will be more, then the difference between the averages will also be the maximum. Alright, so there is no need to find the average of all these numbers to actually find the final answer for this question. Okay, so this is how you can save a lot of time. So the difference is maximum for C, so the correct answer should be option C. Alright, am I clear? So now all of you have given the same answer. Okay, let's move on to next question, question number 2. Read it carefully. If the marks of all 5 students in 4th test were arranged in ascending order, then what is the median marks of the students in the 4th test? Simple, we have already collated the data for the 4th test. We know the score of each of them in the 4th test. So if the marks of all the 5 students in the 4th test are arranged in ascending order, then what is the median marks of the students in the 4th test? Yes, quickly give me an answer. So I'm arranging them in ascending. Since median needs to be calculated, you can arrange them in descending order as well. So arranging them in ascending order, 20, 60, 60, 60 and 75. So these are the 5 numbers. Median means the middle value. The middle value is 60. So the correct answer for this question, this was a theta question. So the correct answer for this question will be equal to 60. Alright, so 60 is the correct answer for this one. Let's move on to the next question, question number 3. The question is, the average marks of B in 5th and 6th test is more than the average marks or the average score of how many of the other students in 5th and 6th test. So we have the data for 5th and 6th test. The average marks or the average score of B in 5th and 6th test is more than the average of how many of the other students in the 5th and 6th test. Alright, Pragya, Noah. 2 answers, so only 1. Nehar says only 1 student. Okay, now average of B. Now average, do we need to calculate the average? No, actually not. I can do it with the sum. So the sum, so instead of average, I can say that sum. So sum of B in 5th and 6th test is 150. So this value 150 is more than which of these values? So 200, no, it is not more than 200, not more than 180, not more than 200. It is only more than 140. So that means there is only 1 student with which B's average in 5th and 6th test will be more than their average. Okay, so the correct answer is 1. So all of you have given the correct answer, and let's move towards the last question. Question number 4. If the marks of student D in the 2nd test were 75, what were the marks in the 3rd test for this student? So 2nd test के marks पता है, 3rd test के marks calculate करने हैं. Such an easy question. So quickly post your answer. Alright, so 2 different answers. Pradeep and Karthik, come on, who is wrong among 2 of you? Now we are talking about D, so we are talking about this person, and 2nd and 3rd test, that means this data. So 115 is the sum. Now 2nd test, the score is 75, and the 3rd test we need to find out. So 115 minus 75, the answer should be equal to 40. Alright, so 40 is the correct answer for this one, and almost all of you have given 40 as the answer. Alright, okay, so that was the last question for the day. Now my dear friends, you must have realized after looking at this, particularly this 2nd set, that the data may be like the data that is given to us in the examination, it may look like a very complex data. Okay, but after solving this question, we have realized that in whatever manner the data is given to us, it is not the way the data is given, that decides the level of difficulty. It's the questions that will decide the level of difficulty. All right. So please don't be afraid when you look at such kind of data, such kind of charts, candle charts, or whatever different type of charts are there. You must be confident when you are entering any particular set. That will decide if you are going to solve that question or not. Karthik is asking idle time for solving the whole set. Now, Karthik, I'll divide this particular thing in two parts. Okay. Now, first of all, if I'll look at making formation of this table from the given chart. So I can say that for each of these persons writing these values, writing this value will take 2 minutes. Okay, because we just need to copy the values, multiply them by 4 or by 6. Okay, so 2 minutes will take you to write all these values. 1 minute for understanding how to find out these numbers, and then another 2 minutes to find out these numbers, right? A total of 5 minutes. Before that, you have the data as well. So you have to read this data also. So 1.5 minutes to read this data. So I can say that 6 to 7 minutes you will require to finish up till this part. 6 to 7 minutes, and then 30 seconds for every question. So somewhere around 8.5 to 9 minutes you can spend on this entire, less than 10 minutes, and this set can be finished. All right. You would see that, you would agree with me that the level of difficulty of the questions was not that high. Okay. The questions were simple, and most of the questions could be solved in less than 30 seconds. So on an average, 8 or 9 minutes will be sufficient, I believe, to finish this type of sets. Okay. Kaushal is saying from looks it's tough, but in reality it's easy. Now Kaushal, this happens with majority of the questions in CAT, right? Now I have been seeing this examination since 2006. Every year I have taken the CAT examination, and I can say that 2006 up till 2021, around 15-16 times I've taken this paper, and this experience, you can treat it as an enough amount of experience to comment upon the level of difficulty or the nature of questions of this examination. So yes, I have seen many a times that the data looks very complex, difficult, it looks ugly. I can use this word, ugly. So data looks ugly, but when you enter the question, actually it is not that difficult at all. All right. So the only key to do good in LRDI, especially LRDI, is gaining some confidence. Now you can gain this confidence only by practicing enough number of questions up till CAT. Okay, so make sure that starting from today, you are solving at least 5 to 6 sets of LR or DI in a single day. So today it's 1st of November up till 25th of November. I'll give you a leave on 26th of November, one day before CAT. Don't do anything. But up till 25th of November, 25 days, every day solve 6 sets of LRDI. So 25 into 6, you are good in calculations. You can calculate that. So these many number of sets you must finish in the month of November. All right. Same thing you can do with reading comprehension as well. All right. Okay. All right, thank you, Guru. Okay, so same thing you can do with reading comprehension as well as quantitative ability. So make sure that you are spending good enough amount of time in revising all this stuff. All right, so all my wishes are with all of you. I want each and every one of you to be doing good in CAT, but it's not just our wish that will make us do good in CAT. You have to do good amount of practice. You have to spend good number of hours before you enter this examination. All right. Now, I'll leave you with some important piece of information. All India Open Mock for CAT 2022 is already live and will be live up till 6th of November. Okay. So you must attempt this test. Ravi's asking, sir, analysis of CAT 2022 will be released after 3rd slot timing. No, Ravi, I'll tell you. So for the analysis, before that, you can look at this CAT 2023. Anybody wants to join any of the programs? So I'll be one of the faculty members who will be taking these batches. All right. So you can think of joining this batch, right? All India mock test series, 70 plus mock papers are there, 20 plus mock CATs and 50 plus non-mock CATs are available. And other than that, a lot of questions are available. So if not for CAT, but for non-CAT examinations, this series will prove to be fruitful for all of you. Last Lap to CAT 2022 series, most of you definitely would know about this series. So it's already going on and at 7 p.m. almost on daily basis, you can catch us live with the shortcut to 99 percentile in the Last Lap series to CAT. All right. Now, Ravi, you were asking about the analysis. So, Ravi, as soon as the first slot will be over, we will be live with the analysis as soon as possible to give the students about the information about the pattern of CAT. So, definitely, as soon as possible, we will be live on YouTube channel on the day of CAT immediately after the first slot. Okay, same thing we'll be doing after the second slot as well as the third slot. But I believe the analysis after the first slot is the most important, and those who have the examination in second and the third slot, they will be anxiously waiting for that. So don't worry, we'll definitely be live as soon as the first set will be over. Thank you very much to all of you for being a part of this session. We'll come back once again day after tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the next session on data interpretation marathon. So this was the first session. Tune to our next YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep for our next session. Thank you very much to all of you for being a part of this session. All the very best. Bye-bye.